Sullivan. I'm a former IRS agent and teaching instructor with the IRS. Welcome to my YouTube video. It's the home of the 5-minute or less video. I tell you everything you need to know within 5 minutes. I worked over 10,000 cases, worked at IRS at sea for 10 years. I have a whole team of former IRS agents. I've been on the news many times. You can look at my cast of characters I work with. They are characters, very experienced IRS characters, and look at all my interviews at 777irs.com. I appreciate you listening today. I'll be over with all my videos are done in 5 minutes. I do these videos for 3 reasons. So you do not get ripped off, to educate you, and number 3, I do give you insider information from IRS on those subjects that I need to do that with. Today I want to talk to you about Optima Tax Relief and big companies like Optima. Now, the purpose of this video is not to rag on Optima Tax Relief or big companies, but they are very problematic. And I can tell you that because I get a lot of calls on this phone right here about people who have been ripped off by Optima and other big companies. Optima is not by themselves. They are one of I think they could be the biggest company out there for resolution. There's a lot of good about Optima and there's a lot of bad about Optima, but the majority of calls I get of people have been ripped off by them. And I think pretty much it's the system, in fact, that big companies have, including Optima. And I just want to make you aware of what they are. It don't make any difference who you use, but as a former IRS agent, if I'm getting complaints, you need to be aware of why these complaints are happening. Let me just tell you how big companies work. You have to understand this. Understand the 30,000 foot view of this, and you'll understand how this happens. First of all, these big companies have a lot of money, and some of them are owned by hedge funds and other companies, and they put a lot of money into advertising. It wouldn't surprise me, don't know, if they have spent about, I don't know, $200,000 into monthly advertising. They show up everywhere. They're all over. If you want to know what the top companies are that advertise, if you're opening up a Google search, the first 4 that say ad on top, it'll say ad. Those are people that can afford to go ahead and advertise, and the bottom is that way. Well, let me tell you how these companies generally work. I know Optima works. I'm pretty sure Optima works like this. They go ahead, and the first person you speak to is a salesperson, and that's where you're going to immediately get in trouble. That person is taking information to build your case, but to get in your pocket. They want to know how much you can pay them, and they're going to ask questions like, well, how much do you make? What's this? What's that? What's that? They're sizing you up. Some of the fees that these companies, especially Optima, charges are outrageous. Why? They have to pay for their advertising. They have to pay for their sales people. They have to pay for their corporate center that they have. And believe it or not, generally, the people who make the least amount of money are the people doing your work. True. So how do you avoid getting ripped off by a company like Optima or other big companies? And I want to tell you what you should do. I'm not telling you not to use anyone. I'm not telling you that. But a lot of times you see this advertising thing. This is a go-to company. Realistically, if you want to hire someone, the only people that can talk to IRS on your behalf is an attorney, a CPA, or enrolled agent. They're the only people licensed to speak to IRS. Well, if you're contacted by Optima, you're not speaking to an attorney, a CPA, or enrolled agent. The person, in fact, probably has some back-end training at the company headquarters, wherever that is, and they're going ahead explaining to you what they're reading from scripts. They're giving you answers from scripts, and they're really high-priced salesmen that really sound slick. At the end of the day, they've never worked a resolution company. Never worked a resolution case. If you want to make sure you are never going to get ripped off by these big companies, make sure if you're going to call them, you're speaking to a an attorney, a CPA, or an enrolled agent, and then you ask them how many IRS cases they've worked. Given the facts and circumstances of a case just like yours, what should the expected results be? And you call our firm, you don't speak to anybody but former IRS agents. We don't have anyone else pick up calls, do anything, because we want to evaluate the case right away so you really don't get ripped off. Now, other people may do that. I don't know. I'm only telling you what, in fact, we do. So for you not to get ripped off, no matter who you call, go ahead and ask to speak to the person who probably will be working your case. If they can't tell you, hang up the phone. Also, when you call us, we like to Zoom with people so you can meet who we are when we're doing the work. Also, the last thing you should know that's very, 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 very critical is this. If you owe IRS debt and you're not giving IRS that firm your financial statement, they're not going to be able to tell you the results. They may be able to take numbers. With us, you have to fill out the IRS form that's going to be sent into IRS. So no matter who you're using, don't make a damn bit of difference to me who you're using. Make sure you give them the form IRS is going to look for, either the 433A, the 433F, the 433A OIC, and make sure you're speaking to the professional. And if you want to add a layer, go ahead and Zoom that person so you never get ripped off. We have worked thousands of cases. I hate to hear the stories of people getting ripped off. A matter of fact, I turn these people in myself when people are paying massive amounts of money to settle their debt, and these people have no. I taught the offer and compromise program at IRS. Peter Salinger for my firm worked 2,500 of these cases. We are national experts in debt settlements. Please just don't get ripped off. If this information was helpful to you, please give me a subscription. By the way, we thrive on subscriptions because YouTube wants them. If anyone's asking you if you're listening to YouTube and they want a subscription, that's the reason, because YouTube elevates you. It inches you up if you're getting subscriptions. Thank you. You're allowed to leave a comment. Once again, this is not to rip anything. It's just to give you an overall picture of what you need to look for if you owe IRS tax debt. Thank you.